welcome to Tuesday with Toya. My name is Victoria Fragoso, and you can call me Toya. This is my first time doing a 5 p.m. show, so if you're new to the show, I will be doing these consistently at 5 p.m. Weekly starting the 29th of April. I believe that's a Tuesday. And if not, if you've been watching me, thank you. And hey Steve, how's it going? I will be doing these at 5 p.m. PST from now on, 8 p.m. EST, just so I can interview more people around the world, mostly in the US and Canada. Hey Chris, how's it going? Speaking of interviewing, I am going to be interviewing today Chris Carroll from Seattle. He's an artist slash producer and really talented. The songs that he writes are very nostalgic and calming, so I'm really excited to share his music with you all. The visuals too, if you haven't seen the visuals yet from Chris, they're incredible. They're really like very fun and creative, and still, I don't know what it is, but I would just say creative. Yeah, I don't like to like define things too much. I like people to make their own minds, but definitely check out his stuff if you haven't already, and if you have not, we'll be able to talk more with Chris and learn more about his process for songwriting and how he gets his inspiration. So yeah, he just released an album on April 8th called Still. I have it here. Pretty cool. I think it's always cool when you can see like an actual CD. It's been a long time since I bought a CD, so I was really excited to get it. And yeah, so if you are watching this live and you'd like to invite somebody to the show to watch who might enjoy live music at this time, if you click the little arrow at the bottom of your, I guess maybe it's that way, I'm not really sure which side, but it's a little paper airplane, and if you click it you can invite other people on Instagram to come and see what this is all about. But I'm gonna start by playing a song for y'all. I'm gonna dedicate this to my friend who's also a photographer, and she is Blue Hearts Photography. That's her Instagram handle, so if you want to give her a follow or take a look at her photos, she's incredible. Yeah, the sound does sound a little bit different today, so I hope you like it. I was supposed to play with the capo. Okay. I was like, this is low for me. Just kidding. Got you guys. Yeah, really low. So let's see here. There we go. Okay, this sounds much better.
my heart drops through the floor. You know I love it. You know I can't fight it anymore. You got me lovesick, lovesick, but I love it, love it. You got me lovesick, lovesick, but I love it, I love it.
Thank you. Thanks for all the hearts. I saw those coming through. Welcome to everybody who's been joining. That was called Lovesick by Maroon 5. And yeah, I dedicated that to Blue Hearts Photography. My pal, my gal pal. Love her. Hey Matt, how's it going? And yeah, so I am working on a lot of stuff right now. I just released a double-sided single called Always last month on the 17th, and it included a surprise song, Kiss at High Frequency, and that was really fun to do. I got some really good feedback. I got to have that on the radio a little bit in Tacoma here, which is where I'm from, so that was super awesome. Everybody was so supportive, and I can't wait to share lyric videos. So lyric video for Always is out now on YouTube if you want to check it out. That's really fun. And then I'm working on getting Kiss at High Frequency. It's going to be coming out to you soon, so that's the lyric video for that. And then we just filmed the Always music video. Shout out to Paul and Blake and Michael for helping me out this weekend doing that, as well as to my wonderful in-laws and for helping watch our little baby. Yeah, so yeah, lots coming down the pipeline. Been working in the studio on the next 2 songs for another double-sided release, so I can't wait to surprise you all with that. I'm gonna do my next song also on the uke today. It's all on the uke, and then we'll get Chris on here after 2 more songs. So if you love live music, or if you want to invite somebody to watch live music, there's a little arrow down at the bottom. It should look like a paper airplane, and if you invite somebody to come watch it, that would be a really good time. I'm gonna play, well, I've been hearing, so Imagine Dragons came to town in Seattle, and everybody seemed to have a really good time at this show. I really love their stuff too, but so I'm gonna play Radioactive.
My brow and I sweat my rust. I'm breathing in the chemicals. I'm breaking in, shaping out and checking out on the prison bus. This is it, the apocalypse. Whoa, I'm waking up. I feel it in my bones enough to make my system blow. Welcome to the new age, to the new age. Welcome to the new age, to the new age. Whoa, whoa, whoa. I'm radioactive, radioactive. Whoa, whoa, whoa. I'm radioactive, radioactive. I raise my flags, dye my clothes. It's a revolution, I suppose. Painted red to fit right in. Whoa, I'm breaking in, shaping up, and checking out on the prison bus. This is it, the apocalypse. Whoa, I'm waking up. I feel it in my bones enough to make my system flow. Welcome to the new age, to the new age. Welcome to the new age, to the new age. Whoa, whoa, whoa. I'm radioactive, radioactive. Whoa, whoa, whoa. straight from inside. I'm waking up, I feel it in my bones, enough to make my systems blow. Welcome to the new age, to the new age. Welcome to the new age, to the new age. Whoa, whoa, whoa. I'm radioactive, radioactive. Whoa, whoa, whoa. I'm radioactive, radioactive.
Thank you. Thanks, Matt. So Andorian Guitar Works also has an awesome live stream show every Sunday. Matt, can you tell us what time that is at? Because I forget. But anyways, yeah. So that's Radioactive Imagine Dragons. I love that song. I've loved that song for a really long time. I don't know. I've never covered it before, but yeah. So as soon as everybody started, you know. Oh, hey, Redvin. Haven't seen you in a while. Nice to see you. Yeah. So that was a lot of fun. I really like that song. I've never played it before though, so that was cool. And so for anybody who's new or anybody who's not new, okay, Sundays at 7 p.m. Pacific, perfect. And yeah, so Sundays 7 p.m. Pacific, Andorian Guitar Works. That's ENDORIAN Guitar Works. Yeah, super fun show. Very like fluid. I love all the different topics there are. So definitely one to check out, especially if you're a musician and even if you're not and you just love music. So yeah, I'm going to play one more song and then we're going to get Chris on here to talk a little bit more about his music. And I am going to be doing these weekly at 5 p.m. PST, 8 p.m. EST from now on. I'll be doing another one in another 2 weeks. And then after that, I'm going to be doing them weekly as much as I can. And what else can I say here? If you can't watch it live, because I know the time change, I used to have it at 8:30 p.m. PST. Totally understand. You can always watch it later when it's posted to my page, so don't be afraid to do that. Let's see here. Okay, perfect. If you want to invite somebody to watch the live, you can do so now. If you want to share more live music, I'm going to play one more song and then we're going to get Chris on here. But this little paper airplane thing icon at the very bottom, if you want to check that out. Yeah, it's been really fun. Thank you for tuning in. Those who watch regularly, for tuning in at 5 p.m. instead of 8:30. I really appreciate you. And yeah, hopefully this will give us more opportunity to interview people. Either, I'm hoping maybe to get some people from Australia, because right now it's the middle of the day there, I think. But yeah, anyways, just having fun with it and wanting to expand the territory. It's been really cool and awesome to see how many talented artists there are in the Pacific Northwest. So I haven't really run out of people to interview. It's just that I want to try to get more people on here. I see a lot of talented artists on Instagram who are in East Coast or elsewhere in the world, and it's like, I really want to talk to them about their music. So a podcast might be in the works too. We'll see. I don't know. I'm going to play the song that I just released last month, but I'm going to play it on the uke. This is Always on the ukulele. First time ever doing this, so I hope you like it. as always. If you haven't heard it before, please check it out. It's anywhere you're going to be streaming your music, so YouTube, Spotify, Amazon Music, all that good stuff. And the other song that I released it with is called Kiss at High Frequency. Haven't figured out how to do that on the uke, but maybe one day soon. But thank you so much. Thanks for all the love. I appreciate it. And I'm going to get Chris here on the live so we can talk music. Let's see here. There we go. Cool. Thanks for everybody joining. Hey, Chris.
Hey, Toya. How you doing?
How are you? Good.
Excellent. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can hear you.
Awesome.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Cool.
That was beautiful.
Awesome.
Thanks for
thank
sharing
you.
the music.
Oh, thanks.
I love the new single. It's super dope.
Thank you so much. I feel like, I think every time, I hope every time like you release music, right, you feel better and better about what you're doing, or at least like the production goes up. Something, feels better in some aspect. But yeah, thank you.
Yeah, it's really wonderful release. Super dope.
Oh, thank you. What are you up to? Where are you at right now?
This is my studio at home.
Very cool.
Yeah,
Very
I live up in Shoreline.
Nice.
Yeah, it's where I record all my music.
Okay, cool. So it's your safe space, your Zen place, right?
Yes. Yeah, my hermit cave.
There you go. I know you like go in and then you never come out for like 3 days, right?
Yeah.
That's awesome. So for everybody who hasn't heard about you before, I'm just gonna drop a few things. So I've heard your music described as like throwback lo-fi pop. I definitely feel like the retro, it's got such a wonderful like nostalgic vibe to it that makes you feel like right at home. And I get like a lot of different references when I listen to your music, and I'm sure a lot of people will hear different things, but there's like some early like 50s music that I hear, and I love some of like the pieces that you put in from like old films and things like that.
Yeah, it's definitely a big influence on a lot of the stuff on the new album and the single.
Do you have a favorite 50s movie or older movie that you like take a lot of inspiration from? Or
can you repeat that?
Oh, I was just gonna ask if there's like a favorite film that you took like a lot of inspiration from when it comes for.
There's this I forget the director, but there's a French movie called Pierrot Le Fou.
Okay, I think.
And it's kind of like a surrealist kind of movie. I think it's from like the early 60s.
Oh, neat.
Yeah, it's just like kind of a zany kind of movie. But it's like ultimately this love story, and it's this kind of unfurling poem of imagery, and they also include a lot of poetry throughout. So I think that's like ultimately where a lot of this project was kind of.
I was gonna say, yeah, I definitely get that vibe from it. So that's really cool. It definitely feels like a love poem unfurling or something like that. It's very.
I'm happy it comes through. That's awesome.
Yeah. And then I did also hear some like early Coldplay vibes, and then Bahamas, I mentioned to you before, is a Canadian musician that when I first heard Still, I was like, this is so awesome and calming.
Oh, cool.
Reminds me of
the guy that produced that, actually, he's from Toronto.
Oh, how cool!
And so he comes from the area. There's a band called Men at Work that kind of have that vibe. It's like kind of a lo-fi kind of indie pop.
Okay.
And he was kind of inspired by them on that track, and I
really cool.
Felt the need to write it. So I'm happy you dig the single.
Yes.
Yeah, he
so
produced.
awesome.
His name's 8 Mil OTB. He produced a couple of the songs on my new release.
Very awesome. Did you want to play something from your release?
Yeah, actually, I said I wasn't going to do it, but I realized I actually know my new single still, so I'll sing that.
I love it.
So this is the title track from the album, produced by 8 Mil OTB of Toronto. Let me see if my sound's all set up. Chip. Please don't waste my time talking about the good old days. I made up my mind, so maybe you should walk away. One thing I know is I still love you so, and it shows. One thing I know is I still love you so, and it shows. Please don't waste our time talking about bullshit. I've heard all your lies. Baby, can't you help it? All that time we did the dance, and I thought it was a true romance. We took a chance and cut it close. Maybe we should let it go. But one thing I know is I still love you so, and it shows. One thing I know is you still love me so, and it shows. Thank you.
Amazing.
Thanks so much.
Yeah, that was so cool. Everybody's loving the vibes. I see a lot of fires, hand clapping. Yeah.
Thank you so much. That's the new single, still off the album of the same name. I just dropped on Friday. And she got the CD right there.
I do. Yeah, I was so excited to get it in the mail. I was taking a video. I was like, I haven't seen a CD in so long.
Yeah, bring back the 90s. I originally wanted to do a vinyl release. I'm really big on vinyl. At the time when I was trying to put it together, there was like a worldwide vinyl shortage or something. So it was like all backlogged for like a year. So
I'm like not surprised, but
there was apparently like there's a big vinyl headquarters like where they produce all the discs to make them that had a fire like about a year or two ago. I think it kind of set back all the production. So I was like, I could wait a year to drop the album, or I can just make a CD and maybe later release.
Yeah, you can always make one later. That's awesome.
I'm pretty stoked on how the disc came out. So nostalgia, yeah.
Very cool. Yeah, it totally fits like the vibe and everything. Now, when it comes to nostalgia, I was going to ask you, when did you write your first song?
When did I write my first song?
Do you remember?
Like fourth grade. It was called Tortilla with Sausage. I started writing like seriously in high school. I grew up writing and performing poetry like late high school. Around then, I think it was like emo music was like really big. Yep. And so I wrote a couple of emo songs, like probably when I was like 16, 17 and started playing. So
that's so cool. I love that. I feel like, high school is the time for emo. So if you didn't get into emo, I guess.
Yeah, I'm still kind of an emo kid.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. So is there something or someone who got you into music? How did you?
Yeah. So I grew up in a pretty musical household, I'll say. My grandma, she passed away last year. She kind of helped raise me. Lived in my house with my mom and my sister and I. till I was about 12. She was a classically trained opera singer.
Oh, no way.
And composer. And so she, she would play opera all the time, kind of old throwback classics. I think I was about 8 or 9. She convinced me to sing in the church choir with her, like for Christmas. And then
thanks, Grandma.
soon after that, like I would go with her on Sundays, and I'd be like the only kid in the church choir.
Wow. That's cool.
So yeah, she got me into music. And then my dad, he was away for a long time, and he came back around when I was like 13. And he gave me his record collection
wow.
when I was like 13, and kind of started this obsessive collecting of records like at a pretty young age.
Oh wow, yeah, that's super early. That's cool.
Yeah, so it was like a lot of rock and roll influence from my pops, like in that collection. And then my mom was like big into karaoke. She's not,
okay,
the best singer, but she loves her karaoke. Like a lot of like Filipino families like were exposed to karaoke at a young age. Not the stereotype, but I think that it's part of the culture, like big time. So I'm really grateful I got that.
That's interesting. I don't. It's hard. We have a new sound system today, so I'm like really trying. I don't want to speak over you. And Instagram added this like mute button that I just used.
Oh well. Okay.
So anyways, that is really interesting because I don't know. I didn't really grow up around a lot of karaoke, but I imagine it was super fun to do. I mean, but everybody should, it's like kind of like dancing, not everybody's great at it, but doesn't it make you feel good? So, when you have that around all the time. Yeah. That's cool. And so did you learn an instrument when you were younger too, or did that happen later? Or
so my grandma always tried to get me to learn piano. Like we had a piano in our house. I'd kind of fiddle around with it, but I was too into video games and like comic books at the time. So I kind of kick myself now, like kind of struggling to, actually retain like a lot of music theory and kind of foundational stuff. I definitely missed out on. But I guess I got into when I was in high school. My cousin, who was a DJ at the time, moved in with us. He moved up here from California and got me like a bootlegged beat making software.
Cool.
And I guess my first real instrument, I'll say, was a computer. Like I started making beats, just clicking stuff around on the computer.
Okay.
And then from there, I got like a little MIDI keyboard where I would just kind of tap stuff out. My first instrument, I'll say, was a computer, like legit.
That's actually really interesting because a lot of people don't think about it that way. But the computer, I mean, like that's how you write music. I mean, as a producer, do you feel like you automatically now, because the computer, so I would say like my traditional style is to write the song first with just an instrument and then put it to the computer. But even if you put it to the computer first, technically that is an instrument. I mean, that's what's creating the sound, right?
Yeah, I suppose so. Yeah, it's I've heard it as described as like a glorified tape recorder, kind of like working in the Logic or like a DAW, But I don't know. It's kind of like sky's the limit these days with technology. But I have so much admiration for people who are able to play, piano, guitar, I think that those are the best instruments to really kind of like write songs on. And so I'm sort of trying to step away from like being so locked into digital and like in the box, and actually just kind of force myself to kind of learn these things that I didn't really foundationally like explore like early on. So
yeah, I think that's really interesting because a lot of musicians, I mean, you grew up doing one or other things or you learned stuff later, but there's always going to be like a new skill set that like you need in order to be successful or to try new things or connect in new ways. I definitely am really jealous of guitar players as well, because every time I'm like, gosh, it's just so dang portable. Now that I play the ukulele, like I feel a little bit better, but it's still kind of
dropped the uke like really well. Like it's super dope. I'd love to get a uke someday. I went to Hawaii this past year, and I was like, okay, I gotta get a ukulele. There's this guy like at these kava bars that we were going to,
Oh,
and
cool.
he'd just play the uke for like 3 hours straight, just like it was really incredible.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I like that it's only 4 strings, so
yeah,
that makes it easy.
yeah, that's beautiful sound. So
very cool. Yes.
Yeah, I as far as guitar goes, I feel like I've been playing the same 4 chords for the last like decade, and just kind of you know, I don't know, but that 50s 60s kind of doo-wop that's really inspired me. You know, that's a lot of what they were using. Those like those OG ballads kind of inspired these songs. You know,
Yeah.
like, okay, like I'm gonna approach it with those those 4 chords I got in my pocket. You know, so.
Right, because I mean, you also have to work off of what you know and what you have. Like, so sometimes you're not going to have like the best technology or the newest like instrument or whatever it is. Like, so using what you have and how you can. I think that is really cool that you mentioned that, because it wasn't that they were trying to be like the most creative with their songs. They were just trying to make music that was emotional and that like connected with people. And you don't need 10 different chords to do that.
Absolutely. And those songs are timeless. Like you can kind of pinpoint like kind of the era that they came from, but they're still really, you know, they still kind of convey and evoke that same emotion like 50 years later, you know.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, they kind of take you back too, which is what
For
I
sure.
really enjoy about your music too, even though like I've never been to that time period, but you watch like all these movies about these people traveling to different time periods, and I always think like, you know, where would I want to go? But it'd just be somewhere where that has like good music.
Yeah. Yeah, my cousin just sent me this podcast about an hour ago, and it touched on something I was thinking about today, like about time travel through music.
Oh, cool.
And how, you know, writing a song, like whatever inspired it, you know, a lot of these songs are kind of based on like past relationships, and I really had to kind of go back to those kind of memories or emotions or stories and kind of relive them. And so like by capturing like these different eras, kind of putting them together, like I was really inspired by 90s hip hop, and then merging that with like 50s 60s like doo-wop for a lot of these tracks. And so like you can time travel through music, you know, to kind of convey stories, and that's what I just love about the medium.
Yeah, that's super cool. And then I mean, I know that you use the computer first, but it's still like you're still a musician technically, because you're making music, you're writing songs and stuff. So you're playing something to make something else like real and tangible. And it's crazy to me. That's, I think, another reason why I love music so much is you're creating something out of nothing. There's nothing there. Like there's silence, and then you bring that sound in, and then all of a sudden you're transported.
Yep.
So when do you produce as you write?
Most of the time I'll say, like, so foundationally, like I'm a beat maker. And I think like producer, like from my standpoint, is kind of like glorified. Like I'm a beat maker at heart. And so a lot of it, like, I feel like I just kind of build, you know, just a basic beat, whether it's from a sample or like just recording like a 4-bar loop on guitar or tapping out the keys or something. And then I'll kind of just listen to it for hours. And, you know, it'll start as gibberish coming out. I think I saw this video of like Pharrell doing that, and he was just kind of like listening to this, and it would just come out as like gibberish, and then he would sort of form like words. And so I try that sometimes, and sometimes like, you know, it's just the melody, and then I'll sit on it and the words will change over time. But I try to produce as I go, but sometimes they're just like, you know, just lyrics, and I try to find music for them, or opposite. So
that's right, because you said you also did spoken poetry as well. That's just really cool. That's such a different medium too. I mean,
totally.
Yeah. Tell me what's that like.
In high school, I was involved in a youth poetry organization who's still around today in Seattle. They're called Youth Speaks. And so from there, like I had a bunch of writing mentors who kind of like fostered this, or challenged us to kind of write from different perspectives, or they would give us all these different prompts.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll say like performing has always terrified me. Like I used to just like write in the journal, and I was like happy with that. And then I started doing open mics, and that got me kind of warmed up for that. And then all of a sudden, like a couple years into it, like I'm competing like in performance poetry. Like
What?
Yeah, it was slam poetry. It's not too big of a thing these days, but
I've heard of it.
Yeah, it's kind of like Olympic style, like judging. Like you got like 3 minutes to perform your poem. And I don't know, I'll say I never got used to performing that. And then when I discovered music, I was like, okay, like this is for me. And I tried to take those lessons and prompts and try to apply it to challenging myself to writing songs, and just kind of evolved over time.
Yeah.
From there.
That's really cool, because there's so much relation. I mean, you don't have to have music with words, right? But even using some sort of like prompt of like, how you normally use these 4 chords, do these same 4 chords, but like the opposite way, or, I don't know, 2 different chords at one time. So it's fun how you can like just challenge yourself to find new ways to do this thing that you've been doing for so long. But sometimes, I mean, anything creative, you just need to look at it from a new angle sometimes, especially when you're like in a rut or not finding like the sound that you want. Do you have any like tips for when you feel like maybe like frustrated with like the songwriting process, and you just like...
I'm finding that, I don't know, for me it's like maybe sometimes I'm not in the season of writing. Maybe I'm in the season of gathering inspiration. And so I think like trying to live life and balance it out by doing other things that you enjoy, and really going like and applying that head on, like, and then maybe the music will come, when you've kind of gathered enough inspiration. But I found that like forcing it like never really works.
Yeah.
And so being kind of like kind with your creativity, and like not really forcing it, but just trying to live life outside of music as well.
That's
what
really
it's all drawn from.
Yeah, no, that's a really good point. I was talking with Brittany Danielle, another artist in the Tacoma Seattle area, and I think one thing that we talked about last time was just how that cycle goes. Like sometimes you are in that mode for creation, sometimes you're in the mode for the inspiration, like you're saying. It's not always going to happen so fluidly or instantly. These things take time, and sometimes it's not the right time.
Yeah, I think too, collaboration is really important, and it's something that like will challenge you to kind of step outside of your comfort zone, and maybe even step outside of your genre that like you're really that you find yourself kind of boxing yourself into. I've been in like a super deep like writer's block, and I got together with a friend last week, and we recorded a reggae song, and it just inspired me so much. Like it was so much fun, and it was just like there's like it wasn't like just like a serious like recording session. We just went in, we were like, hey, like let's finally get together. We recorded this amazing reggae song. I don't think he said he hadn't written a song in like 20 years, and it just like poured out of him like when we got into the studio, and it was just so cool to kind of witness that. And I think collaboration is really, really important when given the opportunity. So
that's a really good point. I hadn't really thought about it like that, but now that you're saying, it's just sometimes if you take it too seriously and you're not having enough fun, and sometimes when you're by yourself, you don't have anybody to like play with, right? You don't have anybody to bounce ideas off of or try new things. And so when you find someone else to just let go of all like the inner critic voice things that are
Absolutely.
going
Yeah.
on.
We're our own worst critics, and you can ruminate over stuff. I'm a perfectionist, like, to a fault, and
Okay.
the only way, like, to get out of that is to really, like, share it with others, and like, hand it off to someone else, like, if you're getting kind of too strict about it. And, yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, when you're being too strict with yourself, that you mentioned that earlier about being, like, kind to your creator, the creator in you. Um, and so how do you feel like you found your vocal sound, like, as an artist? Because that was something I read that you had gone by another name and now you're going by
Oh,
Chris
yeah.
Carroll. So I
Yeah,
was just curious how that trans.
yeah, that's funny. I've tried all kinds of, like, different aliases and personas, and I think that comes out of, like, the foundation of, like, hip hop, and then and then also kind of wanted to tell a story and create a character. And then I had, like, family, like, multiple family members being like, yo, what's wrong with just going by your name? And that kind of challenged me to kind of just, like, okay, like, I'm not Spoke anymore. That's kind of like my former alias. And, I had a hip hop project. I used to rap, and I went by More Sun. And I was like, okay, like, who's Chris Carroll, And, like, this album, like, these songs are, like, some of them are, like, 10 years old, and some of them are, like, a year and a half old. But, like, exploring that and exploring my voice, like, if you listen to my older projects, like, I really wasn't comfortable yet, like, kind of just singing, like, being heard. And I'll say it came from a karaoke night. One night I did like a Johnny Cash song, and I was like, oh, I didn't know I could sing that low.
Yeah.
So I kind of started exploring that, like, kind of lower register, like, I've always kind of had a higher pitch, kind of like nasally voice growing up, and so falsettos, like, sometimes are easier. And then I was like, oh, okay, like, I can sing these lower songs. Let me try to explore that. And I got really into Elvis Presley at one point, like, super deep dive. And then David Bowie was, like, a really big inspiration, especially on this album. Like, we tried to, like, dive into some of his stuff to kind of create some of the songs.
Somebody mentioned that earlier, that they got serious Bowie vibes too. So.
Oh, it's tight. I'm happy that came through. Like, that was big inspiration, at least for these songs. So yeah, I think just exploring it, like, from karaoke, you'd be like, okay, like, I'm gonna write some songs and try to sing them in that register. And
Awesome.
Glad it came through.
So living in Seattle, there's a bunch of questions that I have, but has living in Seattle inspired you in any way in your music? Do you think, like, living in the city is, like, maybe created that kind of really cool fusion of all these different elements? Or
I think so. Like, yeah, like, definitely growing up, like, in my teens and 20s, like, I'd kick it on the Ave a lot, like, in the U District. And I think at the time there's just this cool amalgamation of culture, like, on the Ave. And, like, just in the city. I'm pretty blessed, like, to now be a part of, like, the Pike Place Market community. Through my fiance. She owns a business down there. So I've been working with her down there for the last 4 years or so. But just finding this, like, really diverse arts community. And there's always kind of been different incarnations of that for me in my life, like, here in Seattle. But yeah, just kind of being exposed to kind of different art just makes me want to put it all together, like, how I can.
That's really awesome. Yeah, well, because you also see, like, how the different pieces fit too, which is really awesome, because sometimes, you want to put this and this together and you just can't find, like, the way to do it. But that's what I really love about your music. It's like you do hear all of these, I would say, a little bit random, influences, but they work together. So you found, like, this way to, like, connect the puzzle pieces.
Yeah. I think that
really
can be a really helpful way of also approaching a song and writing a song. Maybe, like, take two really random artists that you love from different genres and, like, write it from their voice or their perspective can kind of surprise you.
Yeah, that's a great prompt. I hope everybody who's a musician watching this tries it, because now I want to try that too. Going down a different avenue, there's a question I wanted to ask you. I read in a bio that you're a wondernaut. Can you explain that to me? Am I saying it wrong?
That's kind of cool way of saying it. Oneironaut is the term. Yeah. I guess it's somebody who explores the dream world. Okay. And I guess I kind of liken music to dreams. And we tried to convey that in a lot of the music videos as well. But yeah, so an oneironaut, I guess, is somebody who like an astronaut would explore space, one who explores like inner space in sleep and dreams. I got really into lucid dreaming for a long time. Now I'm just like, as I get older, I'm just like, I just want like good sleep, you know. Like I've just discovered midday naps, and it's like changed my life.
Game changer.
Yeah. But yeah, there's a project that I created, and it was kind of like it was like my passion project. You can find it on my Bandcamp. It's called Dream Yoga. And Dream Yoga, it's kind of inspired by lucid dreaming, and you listen to it start to finish. And it's sort of like a condensed night of lucid dreaming. I call it like sound collage, and I took like all these different records and pieced together like different sounds to kind of create this like vivid night of dreaming.
That's so cool.
And, and that's I've just tried to embody that in all my projects to some degree.
Exploring the space of sound. I mean, when you're working with a computer and you're working with your DAW, I mean, you're creating space on the computer. You're like, taking up space on the computer, right? So yeah, that's super cool.
Yeah, it's like a painter painting. I tried to do that with sound.
Speaking of painting with sound, then the visuals that I've seen on your page are just incredible too. And who?
Thank you. I can't take all the credit. So my fiance, she has kind of a background in photography and painting, and like literally right like during lockdown, like 2020, is when we decided to like, screw it, like we should just like make our own music videos at home. And we're just like locked in for like a couple weeks, and like we made my first music video, and it was just really fun to kind of like work outside of like what we were both comfortable with as far as like art mediums go. And so she took the helm of like figuring out how everything was gonna look, and like we would kind of scheme it up together for a couple days, and then be like, okay, like how can we do this like with the camera? And then, it got me to like nerd out some more on the computer and learn, like, I learned Final Cut Pro and like Photoshop, and just like kind of dived into like editing. It was really fun. Like, and so she directed all my music videos that you see, and really like took the creative helm of like, painting my face or like
blood sugar.
What's that? Oh yeah, blood sugar. Like, so if you look at that one, like there's one I have like a disco ball head, and like I was not down with it, like from the get-go. And I was like, I don't know, like that's kind of weird. And then like, I was like, okay, I'll sit for it. And we did the makeup. We like did it for like 3.5 hours, and like glued on all these like little blingy like diamond things on my face. And like we were able to get 2 takes with that makeup on before it started to kind of peel off and stuff. But I feel like we got it. We got the shots we wanted, and it was just in our basement, like in our house, like, and it was just really fun to just kind of experiment. It was really tedious and exhausting, but like we had so much fun like doing it. I think we've done like 5 or 6 together just in the last 1.5 years.
Yeah, they're all really cool. Is it Heartbreaker? It's the other one I really. I'm trying to remember the other one that the Healer. I really liked the Healer. Oh
yeah, so that was our first one, the one that we did like during lockdown. And it's like when you weren't supposed to like go outside and stuff. Or there's this like this trail that we walk our dogs on like every day. Or like we went out there at night, we like took like a big lamp light, and I was just dancing on the sidewalk, like yeah, just kind of trying things out. And,
yeah. Well, definitely like all fits together. Like with your music, you've taken a lot of different elements and put them together and made this very unique, you know, you made it your own, and now you're doing the same thing with the visuals. I think that's really cool. And then of course collaborating too, which is something that you mentioned. That's super good to do, especially when you're feeling like, I don't know what to do right now, especially when you're in lockdown. I mean, what a fun way to spend time. Like that's awesome.
yeah, means a lot.
Are you going to do any more do you have any more visuals planned?
I don't. I hope to. I was hoping to record something for Still. We were kind of mapping it out, but now it's just kind of like finding the time as, you know, life opens back up again, like, you know, kind of feeling the hustle and bustle of work and all that. But I'd love to, but we haven't really planned for it yet. So we'll see.
Very cool. Well, it'll be something to look forward to for sure.
Yeah, I have one more single from this album I'm dropping, and then yeah, it'd be cool to do a video for this upcoming song. So
can you tell us what?
It's called "Fool of a King," and it was also produced by 8 Mil. Yeah, something about the guy's music really, like, you know, just really inspired me. And that's more of like just a really slow ballad. That's the third song on the record. So.
The lyrics though are just they're so familiar, but still, like, I don't know. Yeah, it just transports you to another place, I guess is what it is. But I really like that song too.
Thank you.
Yeah. Why did you choose Still as the title track?
It was originally going to be Fool of a King, and I think just something about like actually Rachel chose it, and I think it really kind of embodies like what I hope to find like through art, and, you know, stillness, you know, and so sort of coming back to that after all the craziness of the last couple of years. Yeah.
That's cool. And there's a comment here. Cascadia Cuts just bought Still on Bandcamp. So Bandcamp. Sorry.
Yeah. So yeah, you can find it actually at crscrl.com, or you can look me up crscrl.bandcamp.com. But you can stream it anywhere on all the streamers. So.
Nice.
But I still got a bunch of CDs left, so if anybody, you know, still has a CD player, I got those on deck. But same price as the digital, so.
Very cool. Well, as
thanks for supporting.
Yeah, sorry. Gotta get used to this mic thing.
Okay.
Yes. So thank you for supporting Cascadia Cuts, and Cascadia Cuts also has a radio show. I believe it's on Sundays as well. Cascadia Cuts. Can you just tell us what time that is so I can shout that out? I forget. But so when it comes to, I mean, there's a lot of aspects that you have to deal with when you're an artist, but when it comes to being like social and online, do you have a favorite platform that you generally use so that people can find you later?
Yeah, like I've definitely found solace in Bandcamp. I think they're kind of one of the last like platforms that like truly respect artists. You know, there's also a really awesome platform called Audius. I've gotten really into, and it reminds me a lot of like SoundCloud, like in the early days. Yeah, I highly recommend to check them out. AUDIUS. Pretty cool streaming platform, and it's all free.
Nice. Free is good.
Yeah.
So Cascadia Cuts, Sundays at 6. Nice. So Sundays at 6 for Cascadia Cuts. And
thank you, Cascadia.
Well, this has been awesome talking with you, Chris. I'm so excited.
Appreciate you so much.
So we got to
Thanks for all your support and having me on. And I love your music. Like, your cover songs are the shit. Like, I don't know how I discovered you, but like I got really into your cover songs, and yeah, I was like,
Thank you so
you're
much.
awesome. Big fan.
Thank you, thank you. I'm likewise now, and I'm so excited that, I mean, it's just so cool to hear about all of the stuff that's happening in the Pacific Northwest. I mean, there are other places in the world, but especially when, you know, everything was shutting down and there wasn't, I mean, just to know that there are people in this area. I mean, that's how I started connecting with everybody. And realizing like, oh my gosh, there's talent everywhere you look. And it's so cool.
Absolutely.
Everybody has a unique, different sound. And when I heard your sound, I was like, this is so cool. It feels so familiar, but it's not, you know, it's not anything like I've heard before. So thank you for sharing your music. Yes. And
Thank you. Likewise.
if anybody wants to buy a CD, these are available on Bandcamp. And you can also follow Chris at CRSCRL.
Yep, you got it.
I knew it was super simple. I was gonna mess it up,
Yeah.
but yeah. So thanks again for coming on tonight and for performing for us. Really appreciate that too.
Appreciate you.
All right, so I will be back in 2 weeks. And again, please follow Chris. Find his music on any platform that you choose. And yeah, I'll see y'all later in 2 weeks. Have a good night, everyone.